T-Bot, can we do a quick thing around the line on this, just because this could be a developing situation? I always like these answers from these guys on this. If Micah Parsons became available, guys, give me your answer if you would trade for him, and then what would you give up to get him if he became available right now?
I personally wouldn't trade for Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons is a hell of a player, but the 49ers are in a situation where they're basically paying 2 quarterback contracts already between Bosa and Purdy. They definitely can't afford a third if they want any sort of depth on this team. And also, Micah Parsons isn't the best run defender. When people run right at him, it's still an issue. It has been for a while, and it's just his build. I mean, he can only be so great there. So, great player. I would hate it if he ended up in the division. Trust me, if one of your teams got Micah Parsons, I'd be hot about that, but not so mad that I want the 49ers to trade for him.
I mean, I would love the Arizona Cardinals to trade for a Micah Parsons.
Should.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, right now with the guys that we have, I think we only really have like one solidified edge rusher with other talent out there. I know I just kind of gloated about, Jordan Birch, and, we also got Xavier Thomas going into his year 2. We got Baron Browning and then Zaven Collins, and we don't know what the hell is happening with B.J. Ojolari, but like there's still that missing X factor that would be such a really good a duo, right? Like the guys that we know can do it in the league, but will Monty Ossenfort do it? Like that's what I always kind of go back to. Anytime I'm talking about, should the Cardinals do this, whether it's, Terry McLaurin or even Micah Parsons, it's always go back to, will Monty Ossenfort do a move like this? But if it was up to me, I would. I feel like this is a year where it's so pivotal of this offense. Kyler Murray, Drew Petzing, it all rides on this to continue that trajectory, to continue to get better and better and better. And we do need another X factor, on the defense, which I think our defense is already pretty good, but like that would be an amazing asset for the Arizona Cardinals to do something like that. Now, like, what would we give up? He's not going to be cheap, right? It'd probably be
2 1s, 2 2s.
Yeah. First round picks, maybe a 2 or a third, or maybe 2 2s. I would throw a player in there as well. I'm not sure if they want Zaven Collins, but we would give out an edge rusher because we do got a plethora of them. I'm not sure if they're interested in any of those guys that we have, but I would consider doing something like that. If it was, 2 firsts and then, a 2 and a 3 and then a player, I would be more than comfortable doing that. I feel like that would be the cherry on top of this ice cream for the Arizona Cardinals. Will they do it? Probably not, but I would love it.
I can see the Cardinals doing it. The worry with you would be then, because you guys are like already towing your way out of the Kyler thing. You throw that draft, and then you don't have a method to go get a quarterback. You got the maybe a dominant defense starting to come together.
True.
But
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a tough
Joe
situation.
Burrow, maybe you just wait a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, if you do something like this, you do paint yourself into a wall, because you do have Kyler technically for, I believe 2026, and I think it kind of eases up a little bit in 2027. I know the option's always to potentially trade if things don't work out, this year, but this is such a pivotal year for like this organization in general, right? If it doesn't go well, we can go right back to the dumps, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens.
And I know Rams fans are going to love this answer, because I'm just going to tell you, Micah Parsons is one of my absolute favorite players in the sport. Okay. So I love him, but where's the need? Because I understand, like, I already believe this team has enough to win the Super Bowl. I do. It's not even that I'm worried about, oh, well, somebody goes down and it's like, now we don't have that draft capital. I look at it like, and I totally, I get it, right? I understand being all in. But at the same time, they're not all in, because you can still win a Super Bowl and not be all in. All in is essentially putting everything in the pot and just be like, all right, let it rip. We'll see what happens. If nothing happens, then I come home empty-handed. The Rams got a first-round pick by pure negligence from the Falcons. We all talked about that, right? They shouldn't have a first-round pick from them. That was silly. You don't then just be like, well, let's trade them both for Micah Parsons and then also pay him $40 million when we got to pay Jared Verse and Byron Young and Steve Avila and Kobe Turner and Puka Nacua. Like, the Rams just drafted 24 guys the last 2 years, not including this draft. 24 guys, okay? And they hit on a lot of them. Unfortunately, the way the NFL works is you get penalized when you actually draft well, because now you have to pay all those guys. Oh, yeah, you'll get, compensatory picks when they leave, but there's no soft cap. So you can't just sign everyone. So if you get a Micah Parsons, you might lose a Steve Avila. If you get a Micah Parsons, you might not just lose Steve Avila, you might not be able to match what you're going to pay Jared Verse or what he's going to be asking for, right? You might just have to go about the same thing that they're doing right now with Micah Parsons and just try and franchise him as long as you can. I love Micah Parsons. And would he be a great fit? Yes. What I don't subscribe to is why teams have to give up so much for him when they're going to be paying him $40-50 million. Yeah. And that's the thing that just I'm out on, because I'm not trading Byron Young and 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick like, what people say they would do in a hurry. I'm not doing that, because this is not the MLB where there's no salary cap. You can't just spend, you can't just defer your payments. This is a salary cap era. So you can't actually do that and get away with it. So you
Eagles
would
are doing a
pay
pretty good
the
job
penalty. Yeah, but this would be a completely different ball game. You go out, you get Micah Parsons, who, again, we just saw the first real contract was Myles Garrett in the $50 million range. This is the new age. So they already have a guy in Jared Verse I believe they're saving up to pay. They already have a guy in Puka Nacua that they want to pay. I just don't think they'd be able to. And again, I don't see why Arizona would have to give up 2 first-round picks and players when as great as Micah Parsons is, and I love the guy, what leverage does Dallas have right now? He is showing no signs that he wants to play there. Why am I giving you players and picks when you're also saying I have to pay him too? It's not like it's a great, controllable contract. I'm going to have to give him max value. So that's how I look at it. I understand how some people are going to look at it. I understand how the Madden bros are going to look at this. Oh, yeah, we could get this done overnight. It'll take 2 seconds. I'll do it on Madden. But there is actually a reason why on both sides. I can understand people being for it and people being against it. I don't want to say I'm against getting him, but I'm against essentially what it would take to get him.
Brandon, you
That's
posed
the
the
right
question,
answer.
so I'll pose it back to you. Would you like to see your Seattle Seahawks make a move on Micah Parsons?
Yeah, I'm open to it. I am. I think that there's not a lot of times you get opportunities to trade for a guy like this, and I think the Hawks have a package they could put together. Quite frankly, I'm surprised to hear Jake's not in the same place. I get Jesse. I get. I think Mike. It's no respect. I just don't think the edges have done enough. Zayvon Collins or Ojolari that you'd be trying. Yeah. There's just not enough there as far as that to be good enough as a secondary package point to lower down the trade capital. Whereas a Byron Young with the Rams or a Mafe or a Hall with us potentially can lower down what you have to give up in totality there on the draft return side of it. But I just feel like those guys aren't enough of a difference maker in how they've played up until this point. That makes me feel like we got to hold on to them. We have a decision coming down the line with Boye Mafe within a year where he's going to be a street free agent. So to give him up in a trade as a capital, and then it's less of a hurt there. And then what you do for that defense, good effing luck. I got Leonard Williams, I have Byron Murphy, I've got edges for days, DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, Uchenna Nwosu, whenever he needs to come in for like 10 snaps a game to bring whatever he can. I mean, I still got one of Derek Hall or Boye Mafe on the other side of it. I just think that with the secondary you're building with your inside linebackers, that has got a great chance of being the most dominating defense in the NFL. And I don't think it's a big imagination point to go there.
What would you pay for it?
I would do 2 first-round picks. I'd kick him an edge, and I'd kick a second-round pick in addition.
Damn.
They would ask for a running back. I'm telling you right now. They would ask for Charbonnet, or they would ask for
I don't think the deal doesn't get
Walker.
done because we don't give him a running back. I refuse to believe that that's a
which one would you
situation.
trade if you had to trade one of those guys?
Well, I don't know if it makes as much sense for us to include a running back losing McIntosh, and now those 2 guys are our 2 guys. That's where you're riding with. So I just don't know if that makes as much sense. But Walker, I don't think he's part of the long-term answer. So I don't want to pay running backs anyway. I think the model is you draft running backs, you roll them through, and then you don't pay them, and then you go draft others. You can draft them high, but I think that you're in trouble town when you start paying running backs, and that you tend to look at those deals and regret them by more often than not. I think the Bills and Z-Bot's Bills right now this is what they're trying to avoid with Dalvin Cook. They know damn well the second we sign this guy for $20 million a year, he is going to break down like a Pinto in 1979. And so I'm in the same place on that. So I'll go with Walker if it's really got to be what they got to drive to, but then you're getting one less, let's say, second-round pick. It's lowering down the draft capital. You don't get to go 2 first and all these players and all this. There is some leverage involved here, especially given we have to pay him. I'll give up the goods, but I'm not going to bend over. I'd do it. Yeah. For what it would do to that defense. I think that's unquestioned would be a number 1 defense in the NFL if you added Micah Parsons.
I could see it. I could actually see that. See, I just assume anytime one of these guys becomes available, they're going to the NFC West.
Well, that's because, and that's part of why we've been one of the, and it's underrated. That's why we've been one of the more competitive divisions for a 10-year period and gone through so many different fluctuations. A Harbaugh to a Shanahan. You guys ride with McVay, us rolling down to McDonald from Carroll and still finding success. And the Cardinals even always finding at least a good footing as a floor to where you get a little bit of fluctuation on them. And that's because we're competitive as hell. And we're always trying to drive and do aggressive stuff. Where you look at a team like the Cowboys that just sort of sit around there, just gonna hang, do what we do. But in America, we're a lot of drama, 6 inches, 8 inches, which is it? It's a lot of that. And instead of just like, look, what do we got to do to go be great? Like put the pedal down to the floor. What does it cost? I don't care. I got billions. It don't matter.
They love paying everyone around the guy that they should pay.
Well, you mean the Cowboys?
Yeah, they're obsessed
and then they
with
wait.
it.
Well, they always wait too late, and then they always overpay. That's the thing. This Micah thing. It's like, I still don't know what they're gaining in this situation.
They're gaining nothing.
You talk crap about your player. You stretch negotiations out, and then you make him the highest paid at the sport by far. Dak's been the highest paid guy in average for 2 straight years.
Maybe it's just a Dallas thing with Luka Doncic.
Maybe the Heat's getting to him down there. Or something,
I don't know, man.